Today on Channel 8 News, a group of K-State students traveled to Topeka to hold a rally in support of a dream they all have.
And election season is officially over. We'll have the results from Tuesday coming up.
Health being a major focal point on Fort Riley right now, we found out the steps the soldiers take to help remedy their mental health issues. It's all coming up on Channel 8 News.
Weather is continuing to hit Manhattan. You might even want a hat. Stay tuned. I'll have more on your 5-day forecast.
This is KKSU-LD, covering Manhattan, Riley County, and the Flint Hills, broadcasting in high definition from Kansas State University. You're watching Channel 8 News.
Welcome to Channel 8 News. I'm Jack Bresser.
And I'm Dario Nixon. Coming up this morning, the latest on Manhattan's alleged hate crime incident and a recent shooting at the University Crossings apartment complex. How safe should we feel? After recent events unfolding in Manhattan regarding a car that was vandalized with racial slurs, the reported victim of this hate crime has admitted to vandalizing his own car. This according to a report from RCPD. 21-year-old Dontarius Williams said the vandalism act was just a Halloween prank that got out of hand. The RCPD has decided not to file charges against Williams for the false report, and according to the Collegian, doing so would be against the best interests of the Manhattan community. A shooting at the University Crossing apartments this week left one man injured, and the suspect is still at large. A man was shot after an attempted robbery at the University Crossing apartments. RCPD officers were called to the 2200 block of College Avenue around 4:20 p.m. Monday afternoon. The suspect was described as a 5'9" to 5'10" black male with a medium to heavy build, wearing a black ski mask and a sweatshirt. University Crossing resident Marie Sabertini says that this wasn't the first shooting incident that has occurred since she's been living there. She believes that increased security measures would help residents feel safer.
Something that would make me feel more secure is just if they would install security cameras. Right now, the only thing that they have is at the clubhouse, which for me in this very back part of the community is completely far away and doesn't do anything because nothing's going to happen up there. Like if they had security cameras in each building, I think that would really make a lot of us feel better.
So with the recent spike in crime in Manhattan, how do you stay safe? Channel 8's Brandon Fayback is in studio with us today to discuss some tips with Riley County Police. Brandon?
Thanks, Jack and Dario. Joining us in studio today is Captain of the Riley County Police Department, Josh Kyle. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
We'll start off with a couple questions about how do you guys handle break-ins around the Manhattan area with cars, apartments, houses that have been, kind of the topic of discussion recently?
Well, the biggest thing that we do is, of course, we conduct a basic investigation. We file a criminal report and then also try to get whatever information we can about what was taken from the vehicle and then track and see if it's trying to be sold or exchanged anywhere. We also oftentimes encourage the person who had a loss to see if they can see any indications, particularly online, of the lost items being traded online at all.
So are crime rates up in Manhattan, would you say, for the area?
They were up at the beginning of the school year. That's not unusual, but what we do is we keep track of a 5-year trend, and we were over the 5-year trend in August when school was just getting started, but we've seen those numbers both in violent crime and in property crime normalize.
So we have the recent shootings that were posted about on the call-ins that we got online a week ago, and then the shooting at University Crossing this past weekend. What kind of steps is the Riley County Police Department taking to keep the community calm and everyone safe?
Well, the biggest thing I think we could do is offer some general advice. One is when it comes to break-ins of vehicles, the number one thing you can do is lock your vehicle. The overwhelming majority of vehicles that are entered unlawfully are through an unlocked door. So anytime that you lock your vehicle, you make your vehicle a harder target, and then the suspects usually will go on to the next vehicle. The other thing that you can do, and that's true for your house as well, the other thing that you can do is keep your valuables out of sight when it comes to your vehicles. Now, when it comes to personal crimes, what we find is Manhattan is a very low crime community anyway, so we've got to keep that in mind. You usually have about 20 incidents a month, so that's less than one a day. And the overwhelming majority of those, the people know each other. They're associated with one another in some way. So we're aware of the fact that the thing that scares people the most or makes them concerned is stranger crime. So usually one of the first things we do is make some sort of announcement as to whether or not the persons involved knew each other.
What would you say is the safest way to keep your home safe and your apartment? What would be the good steps?
Obviously, lock, keep your stuff locked up. But the other thing too, and I'd say this especially for college students, be aware of what your roommates are doing in general terms. I think one of the worst things that could happen to you is to find out your roommate's involved in illegal activity, and then that spills over into your personal business as well.
Well, thank you, Captain Kyle, for joining us today. That's all the time we have. Back to Jack and Darielle at the desk.
Thank you, Brandon. On Tuesday, members from the Manhattan community went to City Hall to elect 3 city commissioners, 3 school board positions, and vote on a sales tax renewal to improve parks and trails in Manhattan. I got the chance to talk with the candidates for the city commission before and after elections to hear their platforms and thoughts on the state of Manhattan. City Commission candidates Usha Reddy and Jared McKee were 2 hopeful candidates going into the election on Tuesday. Usha is a school teacher and wants Manhattan to focus on mental health issues.
Well, my biggest thing has been mental health. So we just funded 2 co-responders for Pawnee Mental Health as well as RCPD. We're looking at having a safe space or a stabilization center. So if somebody breaks the law and they happen to have a mental illness, we can take them there for some, give them resources so they don't end up in the prison system.
Jared is a young professional trying to decrease property prices for people moving into the community.
So I think one of the ideas that we could explore is approach some of these landlords that have quality buildings that are facing vacancies and say, if you switch 5 of these units into an income-based scheme, we'll give you a property tax break. So it kind of kills 2 birds with 1 stone. It puts someone in a permanent housing situation at a cost they can afford.
After all the votes were cast, both Usha and Jared would get spots on the commission along with incumbent Wynn Butler. Usha says she is excited about the diversity of the new commission.
So it'll be good to have a good team of people covering a whole lot of demographics, because I think this is the most diverse city commission you will see in all of the state of Kansas.
Reddy, Butler, and McKee are the 3 of 6 candidates that were elected for city commission. Now taking a look at the election results, Usha was the most popular candidate, taking almost 30% of the vote, Butler behind her with 22%, and McKee not far back with 18%. The top 2 elected will serve 4-year terms, and McKee is serving a 2-year term. Moving to the vote to use 0.25% of sales tax to improve parks and rec trails, it received a clear yes, 61% to 39%. Finally, School District 383 will see Carla Hagemeister, Katrina Lewison, and Jerdine Coleman serving on Manhattan-Ogden School Board.
A group of Dreamers recently took their message to the state capitol about changes to the DREAM Act.
Plus, the annual Veterans Day Parade is tomorrow, but there are many other events going on around town this weekend. All this and more coming up in just 90 seconds.
He was drilled by Reggie Walker. On the field, perfect throw. Pringle down the sideline. Touchdown.
Whoever said college is for kicking back never met our students. They're here for college beyond the classroom, for jumping off the bandwagon and into an environment that fosters career potential. Internships and opportunities that open doors and continue advancing through a global education. At Kansas State University, students become leaders who guide the K-State family into the future. What jumpstarts a career with limitless possibilities? Character, drive, you. Outreach is more than a goal. It's our land-grant mission. We feed and sustain an expanding population and cultivate strong, stable families, growing responsibility and leadership in our youth through a far-reaching network of research, resources, and educators. Whether you're in Kansas or across the globe, every life is worthy of an extended hand. What makes K-State Research and Extension so powerful? Purpose, outreach, you.
Students from the League of United Latin American Citizens at K-State gathered at the Capitol last Friday. The rally was in support of passing a Clean Dream Act. Channel 8 reporter Raina Garcia has more.
State students traveled to Topeka to hold a rally in support of passing what they call a Clean Dream Act. These students are a part of the League of United Latin American Citizens, also known as LULAC. After 2 months of planning, they arrived at the steps of the Capitol to have their voices heard. It wasn't just students from the League of United Latin American Citizens Council at K-State who came to the Capitol today to show their support for DACA. Students from all over the state of Kansas came to join in as well and show support for the cause. Rachel Madera is the president of the Benedictine College Young Democrats. After finding out about the rally through Facebook, Madera and 3 other members decided to make the trip from Atchison, Kansas to attend. The group has focused their efforts on spreading awareness about immigration issues on their campus, which they believe often gets overshadowed by other issues.
Our big push this semester has been for immigration because our school is very religious, and a lot of times the only issues that get talked about are pro-life issues, and so we're framing this as a pro-life issue. We talk about pro-life being from conception until natural death, but we forget about that until a lot of the times.
LULAC President Leslie Ramirez says a Clean Dream Act can make it easier for children of immigrants to follow their dreams.
By clean, we just mean doing it the right way, which is also what we kind of did here. You know, we're trying to demonstrate that we are willing to follow the law if the law helps us.
Throughout the rally, those in attendance took part in calling lawmakers as well as writing and sending letters via text message urging Congress to come up with new legislation that will allow those under DACA an opportunity to stay in the United States. In Topeka, Reina Garcia, Channel 8 News.
This Saturday, the country will be celebrating its 79th Veterans Day.
And you know, Jack, not many people realize how much of an economic impact veterans have on the community.
That's very true, Darielle. We go to Blake Reed and Chris Blasky for more.
Thanks, Darielle and Jack. So, Chris, with this Saturday being Veterans Day, it's a very important day for those who have served and for their families.
Absolutely. It's a great opportunity to get out and show our support to all of our nation's military members.
Yes, it is, Chris. And with this Saturday, there are many events coming up this weekend in Manhattan, and I also caught up with some people in Manhattan who are affected tremendously by Veterans Day.
Today is this Saturday, November 11th, and the people of Manhattan will come together at many different events to thank our veterans. The events around Manhattan include the Veterans Day Parade on Friday, and on Saturday, Sunset Zoo will host Military Appreciation Day.
Now, while most people know that the military and veterans are very important, they may not know just how important they really are. In 2016, Fort Riley accounted for 45% of the total economy in Manhattan and the surrounding Flint Hills region. But on top of that, they have environmental programs, recycling programs, and much more. But above all that, they allow us the opportunity to be free.
Most people just know that Fort Riley makes a lot of noise. They hear the booms, they feel the shakes. And that's about all they really know about Fort Riley. And what they need to know is they're actually training to keep us safe. And I had a general one time who told me to tell the public when they didn't like to hear that noise, that's the sound of freedom. Because when you don't hear that, then we have our service members overseas and they are in harm's way.
With all that being said, Fort Riley is not the only presence of military in our community. A captain in the National Guard tells us why he thinks veterans are so important.
Without their sacrifices of the young men and women in uniform, they give us the opportunities to live freely. They give us the opportunities to live in this great experiment we call America.
To learn more about the events in Manhattan this weekend and in the future, please visit www.cityofmhk.com. From Manhattan, Kansas, I'm Blake Reed, Channel 8 News.
So if you want to attend these events, the parade on Friday will be from 9:30 to 10:30 a.m. and Military Appreciation Day at Sunset Zoo will start Saturday at noon and will be free to enter.
Now, as we honor the military, for some veterans and active military personnel, mental health struggles are still being combated by our troops every single day. I had an opportunity to sit down and speak with one soldier who gave me a personal look at his battle with mental health. Pierce is a corrections specialist NCO currently stationed at Fort Leavenworth. He is a father of 3 and a video game enthusiast, but underneath what seemed to be a happy-go-lucky dad was a soldier falling apart on the inside.
My marriage was going downhill, and it was ending. I'd gotten myself into a really dark place, and I couldn't get out of my head.
That dark place sent Mike into a downward spiral that was quickly leading to more problems in his life.
One thing started feeding another. I was constantly late to my formations, and I really started to develop a reputation in my company, in my battery.
Mike's squadron leader noticed the behavioral change and took action immediately, addressing the issue with Mike and passing it up the chain of command. For a soldier, the chain of command works as it starts with them, and if they have an issue, they can take it to their squadron leader. The squadron leader will help them assess the situation, figure out what course of action is best for them, and then even pass it along to the platoon sergeant and the platoon leader. From there, they can pass it along to the first sergeant, who will take it along to the company commander. And from there, everybody in the chain of command stays informed when a soldier is dealing with some health issues. From there, soldiers dealing with behavioral health can seek out numerous resources at the post hospital, like Irwin Army Community Hospital on Fort Riley or other locations throughout the post.
Only do we have programs here at the hospital, but the reach of IAC extends outside into the base itself. We have 3 outlying clinics that are located within walking distance for the soldiers. They're called embedded behavioral health programs.
Outside the hospital and the embedded behavioral health program, soldiers and their families can seek counseling and guidance with a post chaplain.
The great thing about the chaplaincy is that the chaplain's office is a safe place for soldiers to come because it is completely confidential. They can come and share whatever issue that they have and know that it's not going to have any impact on their career. It's a safe place.
After relying on these resources himself to get back on his feet, Sergeant Mike Pierce is looking to use these past experiences to help those he now supervises.
Really helped teach me to take charge and, like, when I see something's going on, to actually engage. Don't be afraid, don't be timid.
If you are a military member, a veteran, or a family member of a veteran needing help, you can contact Behavioral Health at Irwin Army Community Hospital at 785-239-7208, or you can reach out to the National Suicide Hotline at 1-800-273-8255. Now back to you, Daryl and Jack.
This Saturday is Veterans Day, a day where we celebrate and honor sacrifices these brave men and women gave to this country.
So what will the weather be like for the celebrations? Don't go away, your forecast is next.
Sandoval goes on the slide and finishes up the right line. Logo with authority. Zumock one blocker and she puts a facial on Blusek. Rejected by the Cats.
We are a family that does not tolerate discrimination of any kind.
A family that believes diversity, inclusion, and sportsmanship are expectations.
A family that is supportive and seeks to promote a positive environment.
A family that treats all people with respect and dignity.
No matter their color, creed, gender, ethnicity, or sexual orientation.
We are an empowered family.
Who empowers family.
Welcome to K-State. This is who we are.
Straight away. Bam! Underneath the goal to Beasley for the jam. Down goes number 1. Puts up the lob to Dean Wade. That is indeed how you break the press. Turns it over to Magruder. All the way with a runner. Yes, at the buzzer. Xavier Schneed from Aggieville.
For football fans attending the K-State game this Saturday, weather anchor Matt Vose tells me that we might need to pack a jacket.
That's right, Daryl. I heard the weather actually might be a little bit chilly this weekend. Matt is here ready to give us the answers. Matt?
Ooh, it's a bit chilly out there, guys. So this week you might want to bundle up and bring a coat, maybe even wear a hat. However, it's not going to be cold across the country per se as we look here at our national weather map. Up here in Seattle, we have a 46 with some rain. And then down in Los Angeles, it's going to be 61, which is cool for the time. And then over on the east side, it'll be in the 30s up in New York. Now moving on to our Kansas map. On the west side of Kansas, it'll be in the upper 40s, and then down in the 30s on the south, and then 36 on the west side. Now moving on to our 5-day forecast. Today is 46, low of 26, and then similar tomorrow for that parade. And then on Saturday, it'll be 51 degrees, a slight chance of rain, so I'll be looking for that, and then it'll be pretty nice for the weekend. And then After the show, make sure you check Facebook Live, or I'll be giving you more on Saturday. That's all we have for weather today. Back to you, Jack and Dario at the desk.
Up next in sports, Manhattan High football battered Derby last week in the 6A state championships. We have your highlights.
And hear about how K-State students are getting around on campus without their cars.
Plays it back for page 3. Swish!
Gold backing in, spinorama right around Burris. She scored.
Martin sees an open lane. It's all the way to the basket. Chambers hits the 3. What an impressive play by Kawhi Middlebrook. Big Lou says get out.
When I hear the phrase giving back,
it means opportunity for me to do something for others.
Volunteering exposes you to different ways of life and different people around the world.
They teach you just as much as you teach them.
it allows you to understand the social issues that we face. The only people who can resolve those social issues is us, and that's starting with our community.
I think for me it means just really embodying what it means to be a part of that K-State family.
K-State athletics team with Courts for Kids, and we went to Costa Rica, a town called Leona Veja.
We went to Dallas to volunteer at Aid Services of Dallas.
I believe everybody should have education, and that's why I volunteer at a high school.
It's a family atmosphere, and we're here to take care of each other, and I think that K-State Proud and other things that students do really embody that family atmosphere that we've been taught since we got here.
What motivates Wildcats to give back?
Empathy.
Kindness.
You.
A lot has happened in the world of sports this week. Channel 8 sports reporter Alex Don has your updates.
Thanks, Jack. It was a season of firsts for the Kansas State women's soccer team. Competing in the Big 12 for the first time, the Wildcats finished with a 6-11-1 record. This was only the program's second year, but one player was able to bring home a K-State first. Channel 8 reporter Bridget Howard has the story.
After a standout season at K-State with 14 starts and playing in all 18 games, freshman Hannah Davis was selected to the All-Big 12 freshman team. A few games into her freshman season at K-State, she realized her coach's expectations were a little different than they had been in the past.
In high school, I was definitely the goal scorer I was looked up to, and everyone always put all the pressure on me to score the goals and win the games.
Growing up in Lincoln, Nebraska, Davis was a superstar on her high school team, scoring 117 goals in her career.
I think she does a nice job both offensively, but she also defends very well, understands taking away passing lanes and so on.
As Davis stepped foot on the field at K-State, Coach Dabini put her in the outside midfielder position, where assisting is her main job. In her first season at K-State, Hannah Davis netted 2 goals with 5 assists. She also broke the single-season assist record and assists by a freshman. Coach Dabini says Davis is a big-time player in terms of finding the back of the net and helping others in crucial moments. She was awarded Big 12 Freshman of the Week 2 times this season.
But she adapted very well as the season went along, especially in the Big 12, and provided us a spark up top, giving us a lot of opportunity, goal-scoring opportunities, or creating chances for herself or her teammates.
Although her main role may not be to score anymore, Davis is enjoying her new position.
Here at K-State, I like to set people up. I like to see other people score goals and get the assists for those goals, and see other people come through and score and win the game for us.
Davis hopes to continue improving and becoming more of a leader in her years to come as a Wildcat. In Manhattan, Bridget Howard, Channel 8 News.
The Manhattan High football team advanced to the quarterfinals of the state playoffs after a 21-0 victory over Wichita East. Up next for the Indians, a visit from the reigning 6A champion Derby Panthers. It was a close battle between the two one-loss teams, with the Indians striking first. Running back Cavante McDonald hits the edge and doesn't turn back. Indians up 7-0. The Panthers wouldn't stay down long. Quarterback Hunter Igo finds Tyler Brown on this rollout pass to tie it up, and that would get the momentum rolling for the Panthers as they would go on to win 21-14. Manhattan finished the season 8-2. In the first game of a doubleheader exhibition against Emporia State, the K-State women's basketball team took floor first and started off fast. Led by seniors Karyla Middlebrook, Shaylin Martin, and Kaylee Page, the Wildcats have a strong core returning. But tonight would be about freshman Rachel Ranke, who led the team in scoring with 20 points, followed by fellow newcomer Simone Goodrich, who added 16. K-State goes on to win this one easily, 87-65. The women's team will kick off the 2017 campaign tomorrow night against Stephen F. Austin. The men's team took the floor in the second game to end the night against the Hornets, and the outcome was identical. Although this was an exhibition, junior Dean Wade was in regular season form. The St. John's native poured in 20 points in addition to 10 rebounds and 3 assists. Sophomore Xavier Sneed would follow suit with a 13-point performance, while freshman Ahmad Wainwright added 12 points himself. The Cats ended this one early with a final score of 77-44. The men's basketball team begins their season tomorrow night against American following the women's game in Bramlage Coliseum. That's all the sports we have for you this week. Back to the desk with Jack and Dario.
Thank you, Alex.
Up next, if you want to avoid the gridlock on campus, ATA has a solution.
Plays it back for a page 3. Swish!
Goal, backing in, spinorama, right around Burris, she scored.
Martin sees an open lane, it's all the way to the basket. Chambers hits the 3. What an impressive play by Kalila Middlebrook. Big Lou says get out.
When I hear the phrase giving back,
it means an opportunity for me to do something for others.
Volunteering exposes you to different ways of life and different people around the world.
They teach you just as much as you teach them.
it allows you to understand the social issues that we face. The only people who can resolve those social issues is us, and that's starting with our community.
I think for me it means just really embodying what it means to be a part of that K-State family.
K-State athletics team with Courts for Kids, and we went to Costa Rica, a town called Liana Veja.
We went to Dallas to volunteer at Aid Services of Dallas.
I believe everybody should have education, and that's why I volunteer at a high school.
It's a family atmosphere, and we're here to take care of each other, and I think that K-State Proud and other things that students do really embody that family atmosphere that we've been taught since we got here.
What motivates Wildcats to give back?
Empathy.
Kindness.
You.
K-State Shuttle service is an option that is becoming more and more popular among students as the weather gets colder. Our reporter Kobe Miller brings you some of the details.
Many K-State students have begun to take advantage of the shuttle system on campus. K-State's shuttle service has two halves, the K-State Park and Ride and the ATA Jardine route. Park and Ride connects almost all of campus with 4 buses operating 2 routes. The K, S, and U buses all operate on a 30-minute roundabout across campus, reaching each stop every 10 minutes, while the Union Express connects the East Stadium to the Student Union.
Here I am in front of McCain Auditorium, one of many shuttle stops for the Kansas State Park and Ride shuttle services. And now I'm in front of Call Hall, almost 15 minutes of walking away. Or you could choose to ride the shuttle, like some of these other K-State students.
Instead of fighting for parking, some students take the shuttles.
I think it's very convenient for students that don't have a car.
It's pretty much the cheapest way to get around.
I've never used it. I've never used the shuttle service.
According to Parking Services Interim President Jeff Barnes, the system is underutilized. Parking Services hopes to perfect the system in the near future. A list of the bus routes and times is available on the Parking Services webpage. In Manhattan, Colby Miller, Channel 8 News.
Thank you for doing it.